Hi, I'm Mary Kopczynski, the CEO of RegAlytics, here from my couch where I'm recovering from a terrible fever, thankfully not COVID, but I'm also going to ruin your lives because RegAlytics is on my phone, so I can still keep watch and give you the most interesting of the 11,834 alerts this week. And this ruins your lives because it means you no longer have an excuse not to know what's going on. And yes, the regulators do follow me here on LinkedIn, so be sure to get your subscription before it's too late. The regulators of the week are the federal bank regulators, which is the Fed, the OCC, and the FDIC. Some of you have been following the drama around the Community Reinvestment Act. For those of you who have not, the Community Reinvestment Act is a 1977 Civil Rights Act that was passed to ensure that bank loans were given out in a racially consistent manner with the local population. It's backed with the federal bank regulators working together. But in the Trump era, the OCC moved forward with a new proposal to the CRA to modernize the rule, but they did it without the others. Unsurprisingly, the OCC is the one regulator that the president has the most control over. Now the regulators are finally in sync again and have together proposed a rule to modernize the CRA. So this one is much more likely to stick. The topic of the week was crypto, and mostly by the way of enforcement, starting with the SEC doubling its crypto and cyber unit to 50 dedicated positions. Interesting fact, the crypto and cyber unit has brought in over $2 billion to the SEC since it was created in 2017. Don't forget, regulators need to make money too. The SEC also busted 2 different crypto mining scams for failures in disclosure. The first, MCC, was selling crypto mining packs, but the money was not actually spent on crypto mining, but instead existing crypto within the company's portfolios. The second, NVIDIA, was selling shares in its gaming business, but failed to disclose that they were gaining a significant amount of their revenue from mining crypto. Also this week, Pat Toomey, the Republican senator and member of the Senate Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs Committee, has released a discussion draft of legislation establishing a new regulatory framework for payment stablecoins. North Korea was the subject of a very complex OFAC bust for an elaborate crypto mining scheme that stole and laundered over $620 million in crypto assets. OFAC busted the company Blender for $20 million of the scheme, shut them down, and put them on the OFAC sanctions list. A crypto mixer is a company that scrambles ownership of cryptocurrency for the purposes of privacy, but it's ultimately used for crimes. Blender is the first crypto mixer put on the sanctions list. Speaking of sanctions, next Thursday at noon EST, I will be doing a deep dive on Russia sanctions so that you have an understanding of what's going on, who's impacted, and how you should respond. Please register on the link provided in the comments. And speaking of Russia and Ukraine, the U.S. Commerce Department announced a lift of tariffs of Ukraine's steel, and the UK Department for Business, Energy, and Industrial Strategy announced a distribution of hundreds more of mobile generators to provide power to Ukraine. In climate this week, the SEC has extended the comment period for the climate disclosure proposal to June 17th, so you have a little more time. The New Jersey State Senate has introduced a bill that urges lending institutions in the state not to finance projects that contribute to climate change. Not much teeth in it, but still pretty interesting. And last but not least, the CFPB issued guidance clarifying that you're not supposed to discriminate when you're lending or after you've actually lent the money. It makes sense to me, but sad that these things need to be stated aloud. And that's it this week for RegAlytics. We have the most comprehensive, coherent, and customizable regulatory alerts tool in the world. Come and see how company after company is transforming their compliance with this kind of transparency, even when you're sick at home with a fever. See you next Wednesday.